Hey, everybody. Welcome to Beyond, episode 523. My name is Marty Sleeve. I'm joined by Zach Ryan.
Hey.
Miranda Sanchez.
Hello.
And Alana Pierce. We just got back from PSX, so we have all sorts of cool stuff to talk about, including Death Stranding. We sat down with Hideo Kojima. He gave us all sorts of scoops on the new trailer. That's very exciting. We finally got to see a big BCD of Dreams and realize what that game is, which is a lot more than just a game. Alana got to play the Detroit Kara demo, which received a lot of controversy, and then a ton more stuff. From FromSoft to Guacamelee and the Valley of Gods. It's a very exciting weekend. All right, now we're going to take a moment and throw to James Duggan with a message from our sponsor.
Today's Podcast Beyond giveaway is presented by God of War: The Lost Pages. In celebration of God of War, we're giving away a $100 PlayStation Store gift card for your gaming enjoyment. Just go to ign.forumstack.com/forums/Podcast Beyond _sweepstakes for a chance to win. And let's be honest, if you can remember that URL, you deserve to win. Check out the God of War podcast, The Lost Pages of Norse Myth, on iTunes and Google Play for official game lore and in-depth interviews with Santa Monica Studio. A new episode is available each month leading up to God of War's release.
All right, thanks, James. Now back to the show. I think we could probably just
Can we just
go.
talk about Kojima?
Yeah, we could. I just want to
we can talk about Kojima.
Yeah.
I don't know. I put that at the start. There's a ton of stuff to talk about, but I feel like looking at traffic on the site, everyone's talking about this man and his weird trailer.
Yeah, you just put up an awesome, lengthy feature about your interview that
Yeah.
you and Max had an opportunity to do at PSX.
Yeah.
So that's it's really cool. If anybody's checking it out, or if anybody hasn't yet, go ahead and read that because it'll give you more context to what we're talking about here.
Right.
Well, we also put up a rewind of
Yeah,
the
Yeah, Chloe did an
awesome
incredible
analysis,
rewind. So
as always.
I guess just like starting off, like we're seeing it right now. What did you guys think of the trailer?
I care now.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, I mean,
That's
before
huge.
I was just like, we'll find out more someday.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is strange, but Chloe will explain it to me.
Yeah.
And then this one, I was just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that,
Yeah.
weird ghost hand.
We got a lot
prints
more
and-
context from this trailer than we had from any of the others. And like I have always said that I'm cool with Kojima just repeatedly releasing these obscure short films.
Yeah.
It still doesn't make me know what the game is.
I think, well,
Except
this
that
one,
there's dimension stuff.
this one, you give it so much more context than
Yeah.
the
I
others.
think so
The others
too.
just like, there's a lot of dead fish.
Yeah.
And then there's a hole and a really creepy baby. And then
Yeah.
the next one's like, oh, there's one of Kojima's best friends,
yeah, him
Mads.
swallowing the baby really helped me to understand
Del Toro.
what's going on.
Well, so I think
Yeah,
I think the thing about this trailer is I think we finally, if we want to infer stuff from it, understand what a lot of the gameplay mechanics in this game are.
Well,
Right. Like
and
this one is one continuous piece, where the
Yeah.
other ones is just like,
Sort of strange, like tone pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that this is the first time that we've really been given anything that would lead to
Actually
any
be
sort
in
of
the game.
inference.
Yes.
No, I mean like there's all sort of like wild speculation anytime any of these trailers or short films have been released, right? But this is the first time that we've been given anything that looks like anything that could actually potentially be this. For all we know, this is just a cutscene ripped from the game.
It is.
Yeah, anyone
So,
listening to the
no, it
audio
is. This is
version,
a-
we're playing the trailer right now, so we might reference some stuff.
This,
but the thing on his shoulder, I assume, is going to be in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
oh,
So
yeah,
this
that's-
scene comes shortly after the prologue of the game. So this is the earliest thing we've seen from the
So
game.
this is a full scene.
Yes, this is in the video.
That's so
There you go.
exciting.
Yeah, and so we see, like, mechanics-wise, we have that little robot arm that appears over the character's
I
shoulders.
love it so
which is
much.
great. I mean,
It's
that
so
Kojima
cute.
came out with it. We got to see Kojima with it. It was great. And he says it has a name, but he hasn't said what the name is yet. I'm very excited for this thing to have a name. But it very much looks like this is going to be a key mechanical element in this game, the same way like your codec was an element in the Metal Gear games. I think this is going to be a thing that not only acts as clearly this is able to spot, these trans-dimensional beings. It's able to sort of chirp in that direction and realize where they are. But also when characters pull out their guns, it sort of turns into like a reticle. So I also feel like it's going to be a thing that
cool.
helps you in combat. But then another thing we see is it only activates when the baby is in the tube of its owner.
Right. So I didn't even notice that. And like reading your analysis and talking with Kojima, I was just like, oh, I know
Yeah.
so much more in this trailer now. Like even just then we saw the guy who's like stuck under the car and he gets hit in the face by the rain.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice him aging there before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Kojima called it timefall. And apparently in this world there's rainfall, which is just normal rain, and then there's timefall, which is rain from another dimension, which rapidly speeds up the way time moves when it touches something. So plants will grow and wilt. Humans will age incredibly quickly.
So I guess you'd like be terrified of the rain.
Everyone's terrified for the rain, seemingly, except for Norman Reedus for some reason. So Norman Reedus' character, Sam, it might be Sam Porter. We don't know yet. He has a jacket that says Porter. We don't know if his name is Porter or if his job is literally a porter, a carrier of things.
I assumed that was his surname.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know. He seems more important than a human who is carrying a thing. And obviously, they're all carrying this baby that we don't really know a ton about.
We know that the baby we've seen is a singular baby.
Yeah, it's
There's
one,
only
it's
the
one
one.
baby.
There have not been many babies.
I am of the assumption that with the interdimensional time travel business that's going on, that this is a baby like in a Terminator kind of way who does something really important in the future that they really need to make sure that they protect.
Or does something really important in this
becomes
alternate
someone
world.
important.
Yeah.
So they're trying to protect this thing so that the future works.
Oh,
is
totally.
my logic.
I think what's interesting about this extended trailer more so than any of the other ones is that in looking at the previous ones, these fan theories that have sort of been flying around were sort of based on mostly nothing, right? And so there are all these kind of wild shots in the dark as to what this game could be and like what the times or what the setting is and what the plot might be, etc. This one, a lot of the speculation, they're starting to run concurrent, right? So people are sort of starting to put these kind of clues together and kind of figuring things out. Like, I think the thing that immediately popped up in my mind, and I was watching, I wasn't at the Game Awards, but I was here in the office.
Sorry, this part's super interesting in the video. Watch the thing on his wrist.
Yeah, so when the
Sorry,
character gets
Zach,
pulled
just wanted to get
upside
that right
down
at
and
the
he's
point.
coming up to the sky, he starts stabbing himself because he clearly just doesn't want to be taken alive. And he has this light on a wrist that goes from blue to green to orange to red. And
We assume his health.
Think that's going to be your health bar.
Sorry,
in the
just
game.
wanted to get that real quick before it disappears from the screen.
So rude.
Sorry, Zach.
So rude.
It disappears very quickly.
But what I'm saying is the idea that it's something to do with some sort of multiverse, like that's like obviously the biggest point of
that's
speculation.
confirmed now,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
It
like
must.
it has
Yeah,
to
it
be.
has to be. Yeah.
With the things walking through the mud, and
Totally.
like there's not space between them for something to be there and the car.
Yes, exactly.
And them. Like
yeah.
it just.
And we don't know if
make
those are the sort of those five figures that are always hovering in the background of certain shots. And we obviously see this giant Lovecraftian kaiju thing that when it explodes, all of a sudden we're thrust into the water with Sam. And that's where it's sort of the big gameplay element that Kojima told us about was. So the way he sort of framed it as for 40 years in video games, when you die, you go to a screen and it says, do you want to continue? And then you'd put in a quarter and then you'd appear back before you died. And so you get another chance to beat whatever killed you or to conquer that obstacle. And he said that's an archaic thing that most games just haven't really tried to move past. And so the thing in this game is when you die, the game brings you to this sort of underwater purgatory. And he said it's going to play out in first person. So you're going to be underwater, you're going to be in first person, and you're going to see Sam's body, but you're able to navigate this sort of in between and collect items that you lost and learn more about the story. And then when you're ready to return, you sort of just become one with your body again. And then when you come back to the real world, it's not before the events happen, it's after. So, which is why you see that after the baby's doing the thumbs up now. This is really beautiful. But you see when Norman Reedus is reborn back into the real world, that crater is there because that giant kaiju explosion happened.
Right.
So it's not, do you want to continue? We'll move you back 5 minutes. It's everything is going forward.
Death is the storytelling piece.
Yes, death does not pull you out of the game.
My only thing with that is like, if you die a lot, because this is still supposed to be an action game, is that going to be really annoying to be like put into this second level where you explore underwater?
That's the question that I had too, right? Like this seems like a logistical nightmare from a game development standpoint. Like the idea of coming back to a world that's changed rather than resetting. Because like in Dark Souls, you come back after you die, but all the enemies just go back to their normal spot. Like
Also,
some progression is saved, but like for the most part, it's like, well, okay, it's lore wise, you've died and have come back, but mechanically, you might as well have just entered that area.
I would guess what will happen in most segments where we actually have action is just that the enemies that you killed stay dead and you just get back to the same spot. So it's not too much of a logistical nightmare. For stuff like this, it is, but I imagine that's a cutscene.
I mean, what if there's stuff that
this is a cutscene? So I think we do have that maybe set bigger pieces where like you may need to die and to learn something about the game, and that's like
exactly what I was going to say.
Using it more as a mechanic as opposed to, hey, every time you die, you're gonna go back here, and it's gonna be long, and you're gonna have to back into it. And
so maybe it doesn't happen every time.
What if your character can't die in the game, like just during gameplay, but there's scripted moments where your character is killed?
Yeah, that's true.
So
I mean, clearly there's still like a million questions left on the games, but I don't know. After walking away from that interview and seeing this trailer and sort of watching Chloe's rewind, I feel like I know more about the game definitely more than I did a week ago. And I'm starting to sort of see. I'm like, okay, I think I understand some of the things we're actually going to be doing.
And like one thing we didn't talk about is in the first trailer, Norman Reedus, or Sam, his name now, had that C-section scar, whereas this he doesn't. So clearly this is
long
before
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So in
Plus,
theory,
we saw
he
the
had this
baby all in the throat.
Right.
So
So they had to like cut that out of him.
I really like the thumbs up, baby. Like that's like honestly like 20.
I like that a lot, too.
2017's been just a real bad year, but if it ends with thumbs up, baby, I'm like, all right,
I
maybe
just in
2018's
my
gonna
head
be a little bit better.
when that plays, I have this noise. It's just like beep. Like this kid just beep.
at PSX during the keynote, there was like a bunch of us from IGN were there, and then like a lot of the Kind of Funny guys were there, and like there's like just groups that we could see in the stadium, in the auditorium. And when Kojima came out and they had their whole thing, they were playing
They replayed the trailer.
They were replaying the trailer, kind of like we were doing here on the show, and you just saw this sea of hands go up, just giving the thumbs up, like when
Yeah.
it was going to happen. It was like people
Love
were
that,
very
baby.
excited to see that thumbs up.
We
baby.
also had some like Naughty Dog team members in front of us, and at one point during the trailer, one of them just puts their hands up and is like
Yeah.
just clearly confused, like, what?
what's happening here? Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I mean, that's the thing with any Kojima game, but especially this game. It's this massive question mark, and
It's the best though.
I know, I'm really
Like,
excited.
Figuring everything out, coming to the office and say, hey, there's a new Death Stranding thing. Let's figure out what all these things mean is just the most fun thing.
I think that's like one of the coolest parts of our jobs is moments where that happens. Like it happened with Zelda. I guess it kind of happened with Destiny 2. And this is like one of the first times that I've worked here that it's happened with a game that's not even out.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what does this part mean that we're all like
and he
trying
said
to
he
figure out
like
at
he
the same
loves
time?
that. Like he loves releasing a thing and then having this like two-way dialogue with fans, and he reads fan theories, and like he loves people parsing through this.
well, and what I thought was even more interesting was that he said in your interview that he purposely put stuff in to incite that sort of reaction. Like he literally
did
put
that with
himself
PT.
in this
Yeah.
trailer.
Yeah.
like he's
hidden in the
Kojima
goop.
is a character in the goop.
Yeah, he's hidden.
Yeah.
His face is in the goop.
But then there's little things like the wristbands changing
Yeah.
colors or the recurrence of the number 5.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's 5 fingers on a hand, there's
Yeah.
5 bugs that he spits out, there's
yeah.
5 floating characters. So it's those little things that he's just like,
It reminds
hey,
me of, like-
what does that mean?
like
Why don't you figure it
when
out?
I was in college and obsessed with Lost, like we would just like pour over every single episode.
Yeah.
We'd like freeze frame. We're like, oh, that shark has a Dharma logo on it.
Yeah.
And like,
Well, I mean, can you imagine what that would be like to be someone like Kojima releasing a trailer that everyone in the world is trying to figure out? Like, that's going to be such a cool feeling for him. Like, especially like all of these people in a country that's so culturally different to where he lives. It's just like, that's got to be awesome. Like, we're all eating it up.
yeah, absolutely. And they started like full body performance capture last week.
Yeah,
because
we also
he said
heard-
like they had to not they couldn't do performance capture for a year because of the SAG strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
which is
literally they started
fascinating.
last week.
And Mark Cerny said on stage, who was the technical producer of the game, who said he had played 5 to 6 hours of it. So there's
There
a
was
game.
an audible gasp when he said that
know.
in the room. He was like, yeah,
He said it so
having played-
casually,
Yeah,
too.
having played 5 to 6 hours, and people are like, oh, he played it.
Yeah. He's the technical producer of
Yeah.
the game. Some
That's
people
great.
thought he was joking. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think
I loved when he was
Mark
like,
Cerny's
so
making a
what's
joke
this
about
game
that.
about?
I don't think
And then
Mark Cerny
Kojima-
jokes about anything.
I don't think so.
Well,
Yeah.
he had the best zinger where he was
Oh,
like,
he
so
actually
Hideo,
did.
what's this
Oh,
game
yeah, that
about?
was
And then
pretty
Kojima said something esoteric, and then
And then he was like, so what's this
so
game
what's
about?
this game about?
And then he didn't answer,
Yeah,
and
then
he was
he
like,
just looked
"Guess we're
at him.
moving on to the next question."
yeah, it's like, of course. Like, why would he say anything about
Yeah.
that
Cerny's
now? Like,
so
that's
charming.
Yeah, such a big part of the mystery is like
Yeah.
figuring it out before then. And of course, like, yeah, they're gonna play something. It's not the game we're gonna get.
no, of course,
you
but
know when
like,
you're
yes,
close.
the mechanics are there, systems are there.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me like a little more hopeful that maybe it comes out in 2020. Like I was thinking it's like 5 years away. Maybe it's 2019, 2020. It's not coming next year, obviously.
I think it's
20 would be
definitely not
nice.
coming next year.
I think it's.
I
I
can
think
see
it's.
this be.
I think they'll project 2019, and I think it'll get pushed.
I mean, I feel like we'll talk about 2018 a little bit later, but I feel like this Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima are good 2019, 2020 games.
Yeah.
It's weird to think
Yeah,
about.
that's the future.
No.
That is absolutely the
And that's
future.
20 is
probably-
a year that's coming.
That's probably the end of the PlayStation 4,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that probably those games probably represent like the
Those
last
are sort of
games,
where the
like
Last
the
of
last
Us
heavy
was
hitters. Yeah.
with PS3. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break and throw to James with a message from our sponsor.
Today's Podcast Beyond giveaway is presented by the companion God of War podcast, The Lost Pages of Norse Myth. Each month, hear new official lore on creatures, weapons, realms, and in-depth interviews with Santa Monica Studio. Check out a quick preview from Episode 1, Odin and the Knowledge Keeper. And be sure to go to ign.formstack.com/forms/podcastbeyond_sweepstakes for a chance to win a $100 PlayStation Store gift card.
Disastrous visions. She saw the worlds plunge into a bitter 3-year winter. She saw the sky split, and the realms began to tremble and quake. She saw a horrible terror emerge with a flaming sword and an enormous, beastly wolf rampaging across the countryside as he grew to consume the very sun. She saw the deadliest of monsters and the worst of gods at each other's throats. And, in the events leading up to it all, she also saw a pale, white ghost from a distant land and his young son somehow intertwined in this terrible prophecy.
All right, thanks, James. Now back to the show. Speaking of games that will probably be coming out hopefully in 2018, Dreams had its big re-reveal at the Game Awards. We got to see a new trailer. They showcased what the campaign is actually like.
Yeah.
And then, Alana, you and I got to sit down for an hour with Media Molecule and really start to dissect what those creation tools are. And it's insanity.
It is incredible. I had a ton of moments when they're showing me this game where even though I'm in a room with like 4 people and 3 of them are devs, I was like, haha, like this.
Why does it sound like Mickey Mouse?
It's seriously incredible. The trailer we're seeing right now, I think, is showing off some of the story mode stuff, which basically I think they needed to do for anyone who doesn't want to create things, which is still a really big part of this game. And I think this is part of the point-and-click adventure that we're seeing on video right now. Anyone who's listening to the audio, it's a sort of, there are 3 stories that are all part of the same story. So you play one that's kind of like an action adventure with these 2 kids trying to find their like dragon buddy who's run away.
Yeah, like a fantasy 3D action.
Right, which is super cute. Like it's voice acted because you can put any voices you want into the game. And then the second one is a point and click adventure noir, like Tim Schafer style thing. I was like, oh, this makes me think of Grim Fandango. And they were like, thank you.
Yeah.
And then the third one, which I saw the least of, is a sort of robot story about this little robot who's like lighting up these areas and like bringing things to life by stepping on a pad and like trying to activate this sort of building.
Like the robot wakes up and every other robot around him's been like disassembled, and so
but these 3 stories all loop into each other somehow, and we don't actually know how. And I asked how long their campaign was going to be, and they said they have no idea, but they were expecting like 6 hours maybe. Like
each or 6 hours total.
It's all one. So
but the
it's
thing is,
3 in 1.
The camp. This is them letting you sort of dip your toes into the pool.
I mean, this is a thing they wanted to show us because everyone's been asking, is it a game? I think still, as a person who enjoys playing games, that that is the least interesting part of Dreams by a lot. And it's funny, you and I walked away from it saying, or maybe it was Andrew saying 2 completely different things, where someone was like, I think I'm going to play this for like a little bit and then like maybe not play it again. And I feel the opposite. I think this is a game that I'm terrified of because I think I'm going to put hundreds of hours into it. I'm scared of Dreams because it's going to take over my life the same way Minecraft did back in the day.
Yeah, like if you're into those creation games, like this is perfect, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but it's also every question I asked, every single thing where I was like, okay, so can I do this? They said, yes, let me show you. It wasn't just like, yes, it's like, yeah, here.
Okay, yeah, having that proof like just makes it 10 times
I was like,
better,
okay,
too.
so like, can I make a song? Like, can I make a song come out of like one specific item? Like, can I put a song like into this radio or make this like band of people sing so that like when I get closer to it, I can hear the song and when I move away? And they were like, yeah, here.
Diegetic.
And then I was like, okay, well, if I can do that, then could I make like a rhythm-based like sound shapes game? And they're like, yeah, here. And then I was like, okay, well, can I like make a song? And they're like, yeah,
here's GarageBand. And like they strip away the layers. Like there's like hundreds of instruments.
You can like zoom out and out, and it basically just like is like literally you could produce an entire album in Dreams, and that's just one part of it that supposedly is part of the thing that delayed it coming out, is that they really wanted to make the music super robust. And so that's what I'm going to do. The first thing I want to do is I want to make a horror game, like something like Slender. I'm going to try and make that. You can like implement jump scares super easily. You can put something in for just 1 frame. You can have like Death Stranding style, something happen where you walk into a room and then once you've hit a certain point, the whole world flips. Like you can do whatever you want.
And it's not just gamey stuff. Like if you've been looking here, this level we've been seeing, it was one of their audio guys, and he created he created a music.
He did a music.
He did create a music.
Created a song and then a
like
music
a Daft
video
Punk
to where,
song.
it sounds like Daft Punk. And then as you progress, like as you hit certain beats in the level, it'll add the next layer. But if you just stand still, it'll just loop what you're hearing.
That's
so you are
the
playing a level
idea-
that is ostensibly an interactive music video.
Right.
That's
And
cool.
so one of the cool things is like, I, as someone who's been trying to make music for a long time but never found the time to do it, I can now do it in Dreams. I can make a music video that either is progressive, like a level, or I can make it as a short film. And then I can export it either to everyone on my friends list, to the public space, or I can get a literal URL that's like dreams.me/Charalanazad or whatever, and I can share it on a podcast so every single one of the people listening to this can go and look at whatever I've made. You can also have, like, you basically get XP in Dreams for the stuff that you do. So if you are a audio designer on a level, you will get points for being an audio designer. If you're like someone who is creative and is making things, you get an artist credit, and people can pull different assets from different people that they found in the Dream space.
Okay, that's
put them
just
together.
It's like, can you collaborate with other people?
100%.
Yeah, but you can even collaborate kind of without
Knowing
asking
the
them
people.
if it's public. You just pull it in, and then there'll be like a credits at the end that will be like technical producer, or like
Yeah.
it wouldn't have that word,
That's
but like
cute.
yeah, so it'll like literally credit people for the different
Nice.
things they've created.
Yeah.
Or you can do nothing. You can effectively be a curator. So you can be a person who just puts together this like Pinterest
board.
of games you like, or of songs you like, or of just like cool trees for
And
other
you can,
people
like,
who are trying to build
You can
stuff.
almost create a playlist of like really cool experiences, like micro experiences, and it stitches them together. And then like you can hop into my playlist, and then all of a sudden you were like, for an hour I played this cool like string of levels that Marty found.
Right.
And you were just playing those. Or there's
The
like
way
a shuffle
that
mode where it
works-
just feeds you like
Yeah.
it feeds you a section of a level. You go through a door, and then all of a sudden you're in this other thing, and then all of a sudden you're in this other thing.
So they
you
can
just
be like
sit back and
totally
just get
unrelated. You
berated by
can
stuff.
you can find a level you like of one game and put it next to another game and put it next to someone else's level in another thing and make something that's completely unrelated to all of those things as
Just
a
like
string.
a dream.
Just like a dream. It's
dun, dun.
it's like I hope that I'm super enthusiastic about this, and seeing it in person is just, you know, I think that's the first time that I've ever left a video game demo and been like, guys, this is incredible, and you should be so proud of what you've made.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it's easy to sell over video. I just don't know if we can, without showing it to people, like really explain how
I hope they
great
do
it
a
is.
demo or something, because that would be nice to just give people
So-
a
Yeah.
chance to look at
They're
it.
gonna
It seems like an impossibility to do a demo.
No, so what they're doing
Yeah.
is they've already said the possible, like their full plan is to give Dreams to developers. And so say they gave Tim Schafer, so Tim Schafer makes something in Dreams, that's free on PSN.
Okay.
You don't need to own Dreams.
Yeah.
And so you play this thing that Tim Schafer made,
Sure.
and you play through it, and you're like, this is cool. And at the end, it's like, by the way, this was made in Dreams. If you want to buy Dreams, here you go.
Yeah.
Like that
Also,
kind of thing.
the entire
That's a great
story
idea.
campaign was made in Dreams with DualShock controllers. None of it was made outside of the game. So it's like
That's insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can also play everything with a DualShock or with Move. It's also going to have PSVR support. Like it's just
Did they confirm that to you?
yeah.
Okay.
It's a day 2, weirdly enough. Yeah.
But you know those famous big day 2 patches.
I don't know
Gotta
why.
make sure
but they
everything's
said
running
day 2.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
think I think that was like a metaphorical day too.
well,
So I
it
think
could
was
have
a
been
literal
like
day
that's
too.
the second step of the plan.
Yeah, I
but
think that's-
yeah, and I mean it works with your the PS4 camera, like to record things. You can record your audio with
Yeah.
it for songs.
Or
So
you can
it's
record
like,
your audio in like a full-on podcast mic, but like you could just yell. You can create dialogue for NPCs. So you walk up to an NPC, and when you click a button, they say the thing you just recorded into your controller or your microphone, or like this is going to be weird. Like I am so excited for this.
So I feel like a monster saying this. I have such little interest in this entire as a platform. Like I've the idea of game creation has never really interested me, try as I might. Like it's like the levels in like I love the player made levels in Little Big Planet. Like I loved like looking at the levels that people created in Mario Maker, and I assume that I'll occasionally throw on a PSVR helmet and play something that you're like, you have to see this in something that somebody created in Dreams. I have no desire to sit down and create. Like,
But
it just
I don't
seems
think
like
you need to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't
That's
think so
like
either.
super time intensive. Like I'm just thinking about it.
Exactly.
Like, hey,
It's
it'd
like-
be cool if I could make something that like lasts 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh
Like,
yeah, well
that
there
would
was a
be
game
cool.
that like lasted a minute that we saw a demo. of.
Yeah, there was something like, "Why won't you
But
love me?"
to that, yeah. Please hug me. I think
Please
it's
hug
called.
me. There was this character on this like sort of like Mario.
it was in the video
Yeah,
earlier.
it was like
yeah.
this Mario Galaxy sort of sphere, and you were trying to hug these shapes, and every time you'd get close, they'd get further away, and they'd all commit suicide off the thing, and you couldn't actually
was
hug
real
them
messed
all.
up.
And so eventually, all the other shapes are gone, and he's just there, and no one
No
didn't have
one
anyone
would
to
hug
hug.
him.
Oh, guess what?
and, like, at
you
the-
win.
At the end of that minute, I was like, "Is that guy okay?"
Well, that's just like a
Whoever
really
made that?
sad short story. But
Yeah.
no, Zach, I think the idea is like so many people say that, and I get that. I don't think you need to make anything. I don't think
No.
you need to. I think that you will play this game and you will find all these incredible things that are just like no other video game or short story or music that you've ever seen before. It's all in one place and it's all curated, so you can see just the coolest things or the most popular things this week in the same way people played the Little Big Planet levels
Sure.
or Super Mario Maker.
Yeah.
Like the same way as that. I think this will appeal to pretty much everyone. Like
And
I'm
I think
just
the,
so
I think the thing is like there's going to be these like amazing curators. You're going to find these people who like are in the same way like you want to follow someone on Twitter because you're like, oh, you like this is a hilarious comedian on Twitter. Like they use this art form like perfectly. You're going to find people who are just like, oh, they find the coolest experiences, and all you do is follow them, and
Well,
then they're
that's
just
what I
going to keep feeding
intend
you
to
stuff.
do with
Yeah.
it. Is like because we have this show, we should just like even create an account where we're like we just make
This
the
is, like,
stuff that we're
beyond
talking
picks.
about.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we can give you a URL and you can just play that stuff. And it's like, yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. But
Yeah, I'm super excited for this.
yeah, it's I don't know. I wish that we could just give it to everyone, because I really don't know if we can sell it just by talking about it. It's just
I think it's totally gonna be one of those things where they need
like
to.
once they come out those developer
yeah.
levels, then maybe
Yeah.
try it out and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just excited because I love Little Big Planet. I love Tearaway, and I'm just excited that we were worried that we're like this game's been on hiatus for 2 years.
I also asked when it was coming out, and they said as soon as possible in 2018. So I think it's like when it's ready.
Early,
And
yeah.
it'll probably be something they drop without an announcement because it is a smaller game. So
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned with the art style. Like, I really like Little Big Planet. I like Tearaway. I like how those look, but this one looks different.
it's meant to look like haunting.
Yeah, like there's a lot of really good stuff. Like, I really like the painted style that they have. Like,
Yeah.
there's certain things I do like, but it's like cutesy style. Looks like a very off kids cartoon.
I think that is the point. No, you're
Maybe-
totally right. Some people won't
Yeah.
like it because you can't really change the art style that much.
Yeah, I
Everything
think-
needs to look painterly and kind of creepy, but I think it is meant to look childish but creepy at the same time. I think that's the plan.
like children.
Like a dream.
Oh,
Like children? Yeah.
Oh, this
All right.
wasn't
me?
great.
Like
Child-
Marty,
childish-
childish but creepy.
yeah. All
right.
It's not super off.
I wouldn't say you're creepy. So you're very kind.
Speaking of games made in dreams, Alana, you got to play Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, did you know that game was developed made entirely in dreams?
Yeah.
I think that might actually be impossible. If I had to ask them, can you make Detroit? They'd be like, no, what?
That'd be really funny to go into an interview and be like,
Is this game
Could
made
it-
in dreams?
could you make Onimusha in here?
I have a list of games. Can you make these in dreams?
We make Death Stranding for ourselves.
Hey, I've been out on the show floor and the line for Uncharted is really long. Could I make Uncharted in dreams?
Yeah, so I played the Kara demo of Detroit Become Human. I've also played the Connor demo.
You didn't play the Marcus demo, did you?
I have not played the Marcus demo. Yeah, I'm missing out on that one. So the Kara demo is the one that was like controversial at Paris Games Week because the trailer showed domestic abuse and child abuse and such, and people were unhappy about it because it's weird seeing that kind of thing out of context in a trailer when you don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah, and like to people's credit, I did think it was a weird context is important in things, and I think without the context, that trailer just felt off to me.
I was actually okay with the Detroit one.
Tell me that David Cage doesn't want to rile people up a little bit, though.
Oh,
You know
no,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like, I feel like that was a very purposeful move
Doesn't
on
wanna
their part
rock
to be
the
like,
cage.
rock the cage.
I almost think he was baiting people to
not
be like,
the thing that
how do you
people
have this in
say.
video games? So he could be like, would you say this about a movie? And he did say that. So, but playing it, I wanted to be sure that it would be handled well as, a theme that like we want video games to be able to explore this kind of thing and we don't want them to screw it up. And it's like, I want to be able to tackle like uncomfortable or mature themes in games and have more games do that. So it's like, if you guys do that well, then you stand as like an example for the way other games do it. And I do think it does it well. It's like from the get-go, Kara can only do everything Todd says. She doesn't have the ability to do anything else, and that like sets up this thing where it's like very strict and uncomfortable, and you have this gross power dynamic for this awful dude telling you exactly what you have to do, and you have to do all of it like on key.
So
Can
this
I
is
interrupt for a second? I'm sorry. You're telling me that this Danzig-looking dude's name is Todd?
His name's Todd. Yeah.
That is not a threatening name. That's a bad name for a villain, Todd.
But he's just a drug addict.
Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to point that out while he was still on screen.
For all the Todds listening, I think the names are great.
Yeah.
I think
Shout out
Todd's a
to
great
Todd.
name.
I'm not saying Todd is a bad name. I said Todd is not a
But
threatening
you don't
name.
know bad
Okay.
names.
This
I
is
was like, let's not
Podcast
do
Beyond the
this.
World's
So,
Not Podcast. No,
I'm gonna
what-
make this super serious.
No, one thing I
Podcast
wanted to say
Beyond.
is, so this is one of the earlier things in Kara's story, right?
like the
Which is
first-
why
the-
she's still
like the
like
first thing that
she's still a literal servant. Like, so this is before clearly she sort of rebels and gains her sentience.
There's
Yeah.
this whole like really interesting sequence where she's trying to decide whether or not to follow Todd's orders, and it has this like red wall that pops up that's like, do not he tells you specifically like, stay here, don't move, and every time you try to move it pops up and says don't move, and you have to force yourself,
You break
like,
through the wall.
essentially through this like digital wall.
Yeah.
And then like that's the cognitive change. which is-
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's when you can actually do stuff. What I was going to say about the name Todd and how he doesn't sound like a villain is he actually isn't really written like a stereotypical just angry man villain. I think he is written as someone who is like insecure and hung up on his personal failures and just like trying to take them out on someone else. Like I think that he is actually written like a believable bad guy rather than just here's a dude who's violent to carry the story. Like I think he actually has a backstory that is significant. I think that's one of the ways that they handled it well. Another thing that I asked about is Alice can get killed by Todd, the little girl. She can be killed by him. That didn't happen in my playthrough, so I can't talk about that. But you never actually see her get hurt in any
It happens off camera.
all of it, yeah.
Okay.
And there was like something that happened in my playthrough where he like did hit her, but you never see it. You just like hear a sound. That's it. So they like handle that way, but you also don't see her like get bruised or bloodied or anything like that. So they like make sure that kind of stuff isn't in it, which I don't know if that's for legal reasons or that was their own choice, but
I feel like it's for just general taste reasons.
Yeah.
Right. You don't really want to see a little girl get beaten the crap out of.
No.
Kara gets destroyed. Like,
Yeah.
he beats the crap out of her and he's like not at all like shy about it. But yeah, I ultimately think this is something that was done carefully. It's not gratuitous violence. It's not, I don't know, it's not trivializing anything. It's like taking a serious theme and dealing with it in a serious way. And I think it does it well. I like this demo more than I like the Connor demo actually, because the Connor demo I'm not attached to the characters. Whereas in this I was like, I must protect Alice.
Which one's the Connor demo?
One we've seen the most of.
That's the guy on the roof, right?
Yeah.
So even just watching that one, I didn't like it because you have like the percentage for success thing.
Yeah.
Like that just felt so off to me, and just
So
like,
it feels
really easy.
very artificial. Like it
Yeah.
feels like very video gamey, but I feel like in this world, artificial isn't
I was talking to-
necessarily
I
a
was like,
bad thing.
yeah. So I was thinking about it. I was like, well, maybe that makes sense because he's a detective, and like
think
he's like
that's what it is.
deducing these things. It's like I have this percentage of chance because
I think
know
that's his
these
own
techniques.
rating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's his like internal programming.
I mean, I think that the rating itself is like completely arbitrary, but I think that not that I've ever had any experience as a detective, but obviously the more evidence you're gathering, the more confident you are to pursue like one line of a case, right?
Yeah.
And I was telling Marty after the demo on stage, I hadn't seen the full Marcus demo, and they played it live on stage, or the Connor demo, they played it live on stage, and I couldn't have cared less about any of the stuff in the house. Like he finds the fish and he finds the photo and like the meter's ticking up, and I was like, this isn't compelling to me at all.
Right.
But once he got out on the roof and was talking to the perpetrator, and like the decision making was coming, like the time decision making was happening, and it was like, well, do you tell him the truth about the fact that you have a gun or not? Do you take a shot or do you like try to reason with him? That's the kind of stuff that was like, okay, this is really cool to me.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
That's almost entirely what the Kara demo is.
Yeah.
Is like all that stuff. There's a lot of QTE stuff too.
And it does, like, again, we don't know how these ramifications are going to work in the grand scheme of things, but like there are, it always, all these trailers have that moment where it zooms out and it's like, here's the million
I
options.
hate that. I'm
I
just
mean,
like, stop
It
showing
was so
that.
that Ubisoft thing where it'd be like, everyone is in this world, like in the Division.
What's
But-
interesting about that? Sorry, go ahead. What's interesting about that, those like nodes that they show at the end of the trailers, is that it's in the game as well. So
Yeah,
like
you
when you
see it at the
finish,
end of
That's how
every.
when you
develop
finish
any
segments
sort
of the game, like
choice
it shows you all the and I'm wondering like. I kind of wonder if they won't do like a Telltale sort of thing and be like, oh, 60% of people chose this option and their story went this way.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
possible.
I have to
What's
imagine
interesting
they're
in this
gathering that
because I just assume it's going to have more gravity than your usual like Telltale choice, because I got the same ending that's showcased in that trailer where Alice kills Todd, and that's what unlocked for me. But knowing that Alice can also die, does that mean that like Todd lives, he kills Alice, and then Kara just leaves? Like, what does that mean? Like, because at the end of mine, like, Kara and Alice are together. So if like, what does that mean for Kara's overall story if the character is dead? So it's like, I really think this, or expect this to have more impact overall than a usual Telltale game does, and that's what all those
So
choices
I
mean.
also wonder how long you stay with these characters. Like if you just jump between a bunch of characters, and like, why do I care about these stories?
I mean,
we know it's the three of them, so we know it's Connor the detective, it's Alice who's the now sentient servant robot, and then Marcus. And the scene we saw, he's pretty much a revolutionary. Like he's
is absolutely-
starting a riot in the middle like of a shopping square.
This is a story, I think, overall about the androids like breaking out of human control, and that's where I think they all tie in together. And I think like the idea is supposed to be more about that, and I think it's like going to be about human fragility more than it is going to be about any of them as individuals. So I honestly don't know. The biggest criticism that I have is that it doesn't play very well. Like when you're walking around, you walk into
we even
walls
saw that
accidentally.
on the demo, like when he's just like, "Oh, I have a bad controller." It's just like, "Are you sure?"
It really does not control well. There were like a few QTE things that I'm like, I pressed that button and it didn't go, and it's like I don't think I usually like. I really did not feel like that was my fault, or I had to move left or right with the controller. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, don't make me like swing the controller around in a QTE. Like, it's not. I don't know. It plays no better than Heavy Rain, which is insane because Heavy Rain came out so long ago. So it doesn't control well, but
It's
I
better
think
than
I
Beyond
don't-
Two Souls, which was
I didn't finish that.
the controls were just very bad.
that demo was really strange. Like it was especially strange to be in that room because you could see people like getting uncomfortable when he was like, "Oh, this is just not working," and people were like, "Oh, this is really bad. This is happening live."
Yeah.
And I also, it was funny that he wanted to like get feedback from the crowd, but I felt like it was overwhelmingly one choice, and then he'd be like, "I'm doing this," and it was like, "Well, that wasn't what the choice was."
I asked him about it because like he was like standing next to me when I was playing through it. And I was like, "Could you actually hear what people were saying?" He was like, "Only the people directly in front of me." So he was just row in
anytime-
front of him was what he was going.
Yeah, of course. Like anytime you're on a stage like that, you cannot.
Oh, no,
hear
yeah.
anything.
It was just like a lot of yelling, but I remember like people being like, "Execute him!" and then people clapped, and I was like, "Why are you all
That was
clapping?
awful. Like
you clapped
watching-
for an execution."
Yeah, watching that on the stream was just like,
It was brutal.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I think that despite the fact that I think the gameplay is kind of butt, and I think like I felt that way about both Connor and Kara's demos, not a good butt, like a real bad butt, like a negative butt, like an in butt is what I mean.
Like a butthole.
I want to I want to play it anyway. I want to experience these stories with these characters anyway, and like see how far I get. And from what I know so far, I like.
Enough.
Yeah,
I like Heavy Rain
too.
Yeah, and I just want to lose my son in a mall. I want to cut my finger off.
Jason.
Yeah.
I also kind of wanted to talk about, because we haven't spoken about it. People have been asking us like what we thought of the PSX conference as a whole, and people have been like, "Why aren't you negatively tweeting about this?" And the reason is like we 100% expected no announcements.
Oh yeah, so
I feel like we went into that room with a really different expectation, and that I didn't even think they were going to have a conference.
yeah.
because of
I
Paris
mean,
Games Week.
And we were like 3 minutes out walking into that thing, and I turned to Marty and was like, "What the hell is this that we're going to?"
well, then we walk in, and there's
what
just
are we
like,
doing
and
here?
there's just
Like-
12 couches, and I'm like, oh, this is just gonna be several couches.
I thought it was cool, like, and I don't know
thought it
how
was
much
super
of it.
interesting.
I don't know how much of that is like an inside baseball thing, but the idea of getting like the brightest minds in PlayStation development together to talk, like to have this sort
Talk
of
about
roundtable.
nothing.
Yeah,
Like
So
that,
that-
was the worst part.
So that was
Again,
my thing.
yeah.
I think gathering those people was incredible. Like having Siobhan from Media Molecule and
Herman from Gorilla
and
and,
Corey
yeah,
and like
Mark
having all
Cerny.
these people was amazing. But like I wanted them to just talk to each other about their games, and they weren't really doing that. Like I wanted like
yeah, but there's an agenda that has to be met, right? Like,
well, sure, but
Yeah.
like I felt like it was ultimately just a wasted opportunity.
like
And I-
Kojima not being able to answer a question. Like
Yeah.
they should have these. I mean, obviously have these questions approved because it's their own show.
Yeah.
And like that's
I'm sure that question was approved.
maybe
just
a,
didn't want to answer it.
Yeah, show of force or something, just like a funny haha. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to answer this thing, but then saying, "Oh, I don't have any more questions for you."
and
Are
I
you
mean,
kidding
honestly,
me?
I mean, I think Cerny legitimately just burned through his questions, but
I mean, honestly, for a thing
but-
like this is gonna sound weird. Like I feel like Greg should have been out right at the get go.
Honestly, yeah. Like
the
if he would
moderator
have
of
been
it.
leading the whole thing, I think it would have been a better show overall.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
his
I
section
like-
was like the only interesting.
Well,
part.
even like when he asked like Sean Layden, he kept pressing about the stupid PSN name change thing, and Sean was like, "By this time next year, you can change your name." I was like, "Well, there you go,
Awesome.
You pressed
Yeah.
it, you got it." Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I thought just them being near each other was interesting, and yeah, like you said, like especially after how big the Paris Games Week conference was, I totally was like, and given the fact that the Game Awards were the night before, I was like,
Yeah.
we're not going to be seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I just really wanted to bring that up because otherwise people will be like, "Why aren't you talking about how bad it was?" I
Yeah.
literally expected nothing from it.
I also
so
didn't
don't,
think it was that bad.
I had
Well,
a
that's
few
again
glasses of
because
wine.
we
yeah.
didn't
Oh
expect
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely
I mean,
had a couple.
yeah, I had to work this. So I was just like, I don't really want to watch this because obviously they're not going to announce a lot of things,
Right.
and I'll see the clip outs later. But it's like, well, working,
Then-
it's just like, wow.
Again, like Zach, I didn't think it was that bad because it's exactly what I expected. So we had low expectations going in. What people were expecting last year, and I like for those people,
Yeah.
awful. Like I
Yeah.
totally get
Vita.
that.
Yeah,
I just-
literally no one said Vita.
No one mentioned Vita.
No,
I just
the only,
wish that they had
literally the only panel all day of the 6
ours.
panels that mentioned Vita were us, and we
us.
mentioned it several times because
I
Persona
just-
4 Gold.
I just wish they had said something prior to prepare people for what it was going to be, which was a keynote and not a conference. And then people wouldn't have expected all these
Even
announcements we
keynotes
didn't
have
get.
announcements. Like they should have called this like a chat.
PAX keynotes don't have announcements.
a
Like
good
it's
Like a fireside
There's
chat.
a start to a
Some
conference.
mild announcements.
Yeah, there was like
Barely.
that second Soul Calibur trailer.
Yeah.
What was it? Yeah, we ended up yelling
just don't know
Medieval.
why they
Medieval's coming
Oh,
back.
that was an announcement.
Sir Dan.
I just don't know why they
the-
didn't wait until
Mega
like
Man.
the they didn't keep like the
Oh, yeah,
FromSoft
in
thing
Monster
until the
Hunter.
very end of that conference.
Well, because we don't know what the FromSoft thing is. Maybe
Yeah,
the
but-
FromSoft things is an Xbox exclusive.
I guess. Yeah.
PC exclusive.
Please
No,
don't.
nothing's
Don't
gonna
say
be-
that.
Nothing's gonna be a PC exclusive.
They should have just like even
The
showing the
literature
Death Stranding
class.
trailer there for the first time, but I guess like the Keeley relationship. I don't know. I just they should
Yeah.
if they're
No,
going to do that
I mean,
again. they should
Kojima's
tell
not going to
people.
release that like at a PlayStation keynote when he could do it on his close personal best friend Jeff Keighley show.
Oh, his best friend's Meds.
Yeah.
We can debate that all
what-
day.
what-
I have a list. I have
A list of all of
evidence.
his best friends. One thing I wanted to talk about really quick was the game they showed at the end there, that Concrete Genie. God
Concrete Genie.
damn it. I keep doing it. Concrete Genie. I keep
Where
calling it
concrete genie, where dreams are made of.
dude, where wishes are granted. So Concrete Genie, which is from the developers of Entwined, which was that small indie game that released a couple years ago. I got to just interview them. So after seeing that and seeing the Paris Games Week reveal, I got to sit down and chat with them. And honestly, sitting down and talk, because the game's gorgeous.
Yeah, it
If
looks
you haven't
really cool.
seen, it's like a third person. open world adventure game where you're going around this city that's sort of modeled after like Monterey or Astoria. It's sort of like a coastal fishery town. And
Fishery
a
town.
fishery town. And the game is like about bullying, and you're this kid who has to like overcome these bullies, but you sort of there's a magical realism element of it, of you're sort of painting on walls and creating these scenes that come to life, and there are these monsters you create, and the monsters have different properties that you're going to use to solve puzzles, like fire monsters and ice monsters. But the bullies they're not only bullying you, but they're trying to like, it's like almost like Mario Sunshine, where they're like trying to like wash away your. So
They're like sabotaging you.
They're like Mario and Mario Sunshine because they're trying to wash away your goop, which is bad. But I was talking to them about it, and the game they definitely want to like lean heavily into like the sort of the emotional Papuyo almost aspect of like the bullying.
Sure.
But they also said they're huge fans of Jet Set Radio. And so
Yeah,
what they
that's
want in this
cool.
game to feel like, and they want your character to be like, your character's super mobile and like totally like parkour, like running up walls and,
I don't know
and
why they
running
haven't
over.
shown that stuff.
That's the thing, is like them talking about that. They're like, we want you to be able to
that
unlock
made me
this
10
city.
times more interesting.
I know,
than-
me too. I was
there
like, this game looks
and there
pretty,
was, like,
but what am I going to do?
And like Sunset Overdrive of like totally like momentum,
That locomotion,
like moving.
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, that.
at this point, I'm like, yeah, I totally want to run around this city and make, and because like the actual creation of art in this game is way more robust than Jet Set.
It's beautiful.
You saw like it's like, you know, it's definitely like a million steps below Dreams, but it's way above Jet Set. And so yeah, this is one of the 2018 games that I'm super intrigued by. Like I want to play it and I want to see how
Yeah,
it
show me
feels.
what it looks like running through that city and like what combat might look like and,
Yeah,
and that kind of stuff. That's
totally.
what I want to see. It looks beautiful though.
Yeah, but speaking of 2018, I just want to say real quick. So going back to Detroit, that is in quotes spring 2018, and then we have God of War, which is early 2018, and then we know Shadow of the Colossus is February 6th, I think. And so
What
we have
if
that.
God of War gets delayed?
So we have that. But then we have Dreams is 2018, Concrete Genie is 2018, Spider-Man is 2018, and Days Gone is 2018.
God of War gets delayed to later in 2018. I think Days Gone doesn't come out till 2019.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear
know.
this 2018.
I mean, Days
Really?
Gone was just a no-show. Like it was a no-show
Yeah.
at Paris, and it was a no-show here. So like we haven't seen it.
Gotta work on it.
But supposedly, Ben has been working on that forever. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they haven't.
Yeah.
The last game they released was Golden Abyss, which was a Vita launch title.
Yeah,
but,
dude.
I
You
like
know,
that
that
game.
doesn't mean they've been working on this since then. They've been working on a game, and a lot of times you work on a game for a couple of years, and then you do another game, and it never comes out.
that's true.
Yeah, it's just funny because after 2017 had so many Sony Japan Studio games with Gravity Rush and Everybody's Golf and Knack and Gran Turismo, and then obviously we had Horizon at the
Like
beginning
this
of the year.
year, next year, and the year after. That's a lot of good PlayStation
Yeah,
games.
Just a bunch
totally.
of bangers,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm just looking at those games. I'm just like trying to mentally figure out like the Tetris of like what goes where.
Well,
like
we
if
don't have a
Detroit
God
is
of War
spring,
release date.
Like
Come
is
No,
Detroit
but I
going to be like
respect.
April?
I respect Sony for sort of giving this nebulous messaging. Like I like the idea that they're saying 2018 because then they're not going to incur any of the criticism of saying like, hey, we're delaying this by 2
I
months.
agree.
Yeah.
Don't announce too early.
Because
Sean
like
Layden even
I
said
love
that.
the
He
idea
said,
of,
like we don't
yeah.
want to put a date on that we can't stick by.
I like the idea of
that
them
makes
saying
sense.
spring 2018 or early 2018 for God of War because that means that they could release it all the way up to May and that still
True.
counts. And so they could be fine tuning that game up until a couple of weeks until they're absolutely certain that they know when they're going to
I
release it.
guess
And then
early
say,
to
like,
me means
hey,
first quarter, but
No, early to me means
It's also
first half.
just first half.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things where it's like a lot of these games, they're not going to need this like major marketing push 6 months out, you know? Like
God of War's fine.
I mean,
God of War and
we'll
Spider-Man
see,
are fun.
we'll see God of War
Yeah.
and Spider-Man on billboards and stuff, but it won't necessarily need
Spider-Man
as
hangs
much.
out on billboards.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
He takes
it
pictures
won't necessarily
on
need as
billboards.
much
He's been there.
promotion, like a work back for that promotional material,
totally
right? It's just like, hey, it's available in a month, and people will flip out. So.
Yeah. Well, and the thing like
I
Sony,
guess it's
like,
just that we're not used to that happening.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's
Bethesda's been
totally.
doing
I
it
honestly
lately.
think it's
This-
very
Nintendo's
forward
been
thinking.
doing it.
Yeah.
This next year of just being 2018 sometime. Like
Yeah.
I looked at Wikipedia yesterday just to see every game that's coming out, and there's so many games that don't have dates.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have
It's just
we
crazy.
have
I mean,
like,
it sucks for you or the people who have
Yeah.
to work
yeah,
on the list
I'm
of
just
when
like,
things are
when
coming out.
can I take a vacation?
Yeah.
Like we have
I guess I
pretty
can.
we have pretty solid dates through March with like Far Cry getting delayed to the end of
Yeah.
March, but then we know like Kuni's in January and
Keep
like
forgetting about that.
Yeah.
a
I
lot
gotta
of things
finish
you just-
I don't
Persona
wanna
before
be-
Ni no Kuni.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
Dang.
yeah.
yeah, there is no. I mean, I don't know. We talk about it all the time, but like there used to be that slow season. And now the slow season
This-
was like our slow season this year at the beginning of the year was Resident Evil and Horizon and Zelda. And we're like, well, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And Persona and like
Yeah.
Gravity Rush.
and Gravity Rush and Neo and video games.
I feel like August was chill. Because
Oh yeah.
Shadow of War got delayed. So like
Yeah.
August was all right.
And then Destiny
The
came out
rest
in
of the year was
September, and then
insane.
yeah. Someone released a game in August. You guys should do that. No one's ever
month.
released a game in
It's
August.
the international. That's August.
Well, and Gamescom.
it's
It's also my birthday, so I understand why they can't release
None of those things are games. You named 3 things
What
that
if
weren't
it's a
video
game?
games. The international is a
they
game.
announced some new heroes.
Okay,
They
is
literally
Amaterasu
have
coming?
games.
They have game.
Oh yeah, Amaterasu, that's right. Also, Okami comes out tomorrow on PS4.
I am so excited for Okami.
Yeah, I want to play that so bad.
I saw a dog.
Have you not played
I
it
saw
before?
the-
Oh, it's so good.
Damon was playing it out there on the TV, and then
Yeah, he said it's really good.
We saw the dog's butthole. It was funny. Remember that?
Yeah.
I have an Amaterasu statue and it has a butthole.
Yeah.
I played the Last Guardian in VR.
Oh, yeah?
It's like an 8-minute demo, and it's it's really weird because it's interesting in the fact that it gives you a sense of scale. Like the
It goes huge, right?
Trico is giant, and the area that you play is that
the game?
same.
No.
Yeah, it's set in.
Oh,
so it's
no, it's
set
much shorter.
inside the.
it's a separate
it's like 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's set inside that same area that they showed off forever. That bridge puzzle,
Yeah.
right, where he catches you.
jump, yeah.
But being on that rickety bridge and like looking left or right, down, like it gut checks you, right?
I mean, the scale of that game is impressive by itself. That's
Yeah.
the thing
Yeah.
that makes me excited. Is like I want to see what Trico looks
And
like.
you think you know, or you think you have an idea how big he is until like he's right up in your face, and
Yeah.
he does things like if you idle, he'll like come over to you and like nudge you with his head, and it's really sweet. But like the way that it works is like there's these nodes around each area where you basically like look at it and click to like move to that node.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of like a seamless transition, it like fades to black and then fades back up and then fades to black, so, which is like not great.
It's like Google Maps, but
Yeah.
But I will say that
Zach,
at
tell us
one
what
point,
happened.
but at one point, Trico does like a jump over you, and like I had like a real Free Willy moment. I was like, "Wow, cool!" And then like as he was over the top of me, I was like, "Oh no, his butthole!" Like, it's not
very
great.
good. Very good.
Just to tie it all back around.
Truly the
Hey.
last Guardian.
Oh,
good.
At the
That's-
end
that's-
of the Game Awards, we saw a short tease for what FromSoftware is working on, and it
True.
seemed like something was being tied or tightened
a
or
butthole.
ripped. It's definitely not a butthole. Like,
I was gonna say, how is this related to butts?
No, it wasn't the butts. It was the twisting. Look,
Yeah, here
there's
it
like
is.
a
No,
tying
it's not.
going on.
Don't talk about it like that.
That's either. I think it's a torture device. Personally.
It looks like a torture device,
There's
yeah.
blood
Or
all over
weapons.
it.
So there
yeah.
are
There's
so
a
many
bone.
different. So this trailer's literally I think 5 seconds long, and
Yeah.
then we didn't.
it's done.
Wow, it's done. And so we were waiting to like do any editorializing on until PSX because we're like maybe this is Bloodborne 2.
Marty and I were talking about like I was certain that they were going to show this tease. And then during their keynote, be like, and here is Miyazaki to tell us more about
whatever this is. Yeah.
FromSoftware
Yeah.
has been
Yeah.
working on.
It would've been
And
good.
No, that didn't
Yeah.
happen.
So
I don't know. They have to make a choice. Like, sorry to double back on this, but they have to make a choice between PSX or Paris Games Week next year, and it makes more sense.
Well,
for me
it
to wait.
seems
They
to
did.
me like they
They
made
made
a
the
choice
choice.
this year.
It was
and
They
Paris.
it was
did, and they went
Paris,
Paris.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my thing. Is
Yeah.
like, why would they not do PSX instead? That's the thing I don't get. They have to.
I
If they're
think
going
it's
to do one or the
a
other.
relationship move for the European market.
They did say that they wanted to give something to the gamers out there.
Could
Yeah.
be, yeah. Yeah, because I guess
Mona,
it's
me.
easy. It's a good.
But this FromSoftware thing, that's probably Tenchu, right? Like I think it's Tenchu.
So Zach and I, we Paris
Speaking
Games.
of Paris, yeah.
We did a conversation and a back and forth sort of on different possibilities that this might be. We thought Bloodborne, which I don't think this is Bloodborne 2. Maybe Bloodborne 2 is in development, but like this looks so. I mean, clearly this has it has kanji written and it has like a little kunai, like a little knife,
throwing knife,
inside the
yeah.
thing. And so like unless part of Bloodborne is that Victorian,
It doesn't
is yarn.
aesthetically look.
No,
like-
Yeah.
totally. Like the only thing that sort of put me there was that looks like it could be the joint of a trick weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's what like that looks like that could be a thing that snaps and it's one weapon and snaps that it's something else, which is something that Bloodborne sort of popularized.
There's also like Bloodborne 2 could in theory not be set in Yharnam and could have a different setting.
Oh, that'd be weird. That's not Bloodborne though.
Here's the
Bloodborne's
thing.
all about Yharnam.
I love Bloodborne. It's
necessarily
probably one of my. It's not probably. It's definitely one of my favorite games of this gen. I don't need a sequel to that game. That game was perfect.
I
Like,
absolutely want a sequel to that
yeah.
game.
I mean, I'd rather
think
see
I
what
want
else
them
they want.
to-
Like,
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, and so we had the tagline "Shadows die twice."
yeah.
And Zach, you probably just knew this from doing the Secret Origin of Dark Souls, but Shadow Tower.
Shadow Tower is like an early FromSoftware game that is like just this very straightforward dungeon crawler, first person kind of thing.
Sort of like
And-
Kingsfield.
Yeah.
was the game they did. Yeah.
So I mean, that they have this really interesting history where a lot of FromSoftware games are just iterations on the game they made previously, so as they sort of like refined and honed like the games that they ultimately wanted
So
to
like
make.
their last game will be like just called FromSoft.
Yeah,
They'll just be like, all right, we did
Here
it,
it is.
and we're done.
But I think one of the things that people have a tendency to overlook in FromSoftware's sort of like pantheon of IPs is that somewhere along the line, back 2006 or 2008, they acquired the rights to make Tenchu games, and they did one, and then it's been nothing since.
And their parent, their parent company owns it, and their parent company has always been like, we want to explore these old
It would
franchises.
absolutely make sense if it was Tenchu.
Yeah, I could
That's
totally see them doing a ninja game where you're an assassin.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting though because now we've got Neo, which is Samurai Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And then we've got Ghost of Tsushima, which is Samurai something.
Yeah,
like third
more
person
realistic.
action.
Just
seeming
samurai.
samurai.
Third person action. And then we potentially have a
Whatever
ninja
this
game
is.
from
That's
FromSoftware. Like,
fine.
yeah, I mean, I just think it's interesting how things are sort of cyclical. Like,
Yeah, I'm down with ninjas.
Pirates are gone.
yeah.
Ninjas
No,
are
I'm down.
coming.
I'm down with ninjas.
CFP is still coming out.
If these still come
That's
out.
true. Well, pirates are going to happen, and then ninjas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Pirate
way
wave
things
is ending.
go.
Get it, wave?
Yeah, but it's interesting because they sort of tease this. There was a character at the very end of the first Dark Souls DLC called Artorias of the Abyss called Marvelous Chester, who was this like weird. He was a wanderer from an ancient land, and he totally looks what.
I never played that DLC, but every time you talk about
Marvelous
Chester, I just think of the Magic Man from Adventure Time.
He's sort of like
Yeah.
It makes me think of Darksiders has this character that's just like this skeleton with a top hat that you can occasionally encounter in all of those games. Like,
yeah.
name like Johnny Milady.
he has a name, but I don't remember what it is. But he just finds you and he'll say like stuff like that, like "Good day, sir," and then you just have to fight this like random skeleton that you've come across. He's like very
Great.
very cute.
But Marvelous Chester was he's dressed all foppish like someone like a Victorian man
Familiar.
from Yarnum.
Yarnum.
And then all of a sudden you like Dark Souls, and obviously it had nothing to do with Marvelous Chester, but there was just sort of like this is where we're going next. And then there's a character in the
Old Hunters.
Old Hunters DLC who very much looks. They say he comes from like a distant Eastern land, and he has a katana. I think, with him.
Yamamura, I think his
Yamamura,
name
yeah.
is, yeah.
And so people think like, hey, this might just be a new IP and they hid this sort of character.
Yeah,
to be
I
like,
think
this is
that's
what
really cool if that's the
Miyazaki wants to
case.
work on.
Like I like the idea that they're hiding, that they might potentially hide whatever they're working on in plain sight.
Yeah, totally.
I wish they would have hit a giant armored core in Bloodborne DLC because that would have been good.
That would have been great. But also, you do make a really good point. Like, I desperately want Bloodborne 2 at some point. But it would be cool for them to work on new IP, and it must be weird for them to have everyone asking about Bloodborne 2 constantly. When
Also,
instead
they're a
they-
developer
I think
that's
they're at a point now where it's really interesting for them to like. They've done so much work and made a name for themselves. Like nobody gave a shit about
No.
FromSoftware before
Yeah.
Before Demon
Dark
Souls.
Souls, Demon
Yeah.
Souls,
Demon
right?
Souls,
So like those games put them on the map. I'm sorry, I did a cuss. Those games put them on the map, and now they have an opportunity to go back and explore something that they did
they wanted
that
to
they
do.
wanted to do and do it with like all this money and notoriety behind them. So
You're
it's
totally
like-
right.
yeah. Yeah, and I don't know they're batting 5 for 5 for their last 5 in the last decade. So I'm like, just you do whatever you want.
Yeah, I just love seeing big renowned studios that grew from not a lot to getting identified with one thing,
Yeah.
move on and do something that they've really wanted to do.
Totally.
Dating
And
sim.
Miyazaki
Yes.
Miyazaki has said multiple times that he doesn't want to work on any Soulsborne game
Lazy Miyazaki.
for
he's-
a while. Like
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
I'm done with this
That's
this
totally fair.
franchise.
Yeah, if we
for
get Bloodborne 2 in another 5-10 years, that's fine.
I mean, if they held out,
eventually.
if they held out for like Bloodborne 2 on the whatever the next
gen.
PlayStation consoles, people
It'll be called the
will lose,
PlayStation 5. That's
People
what's
will
gonna be.
lose their mind.
You're right.
Like,
it is.
Spoilers.
Yeah, PlayStation. We don't really have to question that one. It's giving me.
what if it's called the PlayStation 1?
I was going to make
That'd
that
be
joke.
bad. There's already a PlayStation 1 that came out in like 1995.
That's not too
Speaking
PlayStation
of
Infinity.
games launching on the PlayStation 5, Zach, you got to play Guacamelee too.
Yeah, it's just a PS5 exclusive.
No.
This game is awesome. Like it is
played
so
it too.
good. And this is my segment,
Yeah, no,
Alana.
go.
No, I'm just kidding. No,
Go for it.
this game,
It's
I
beautiful.
I really love the
Golly.
first.
It's very pretty.
I love the
go.
first one so much, and we're like racing to get it out. I love the first game so much, and this one looks like that except more.
Yeah.
And the first, like, I don't know, there's probably just the one demo, and it's
I played at the media booth.
Yeah, okay, yeah, me too. So it seems like it's like an early portion of the game. You don't have a ton of powers, but the returning powers from the first game, like the uppercut and the side dash, like you have those immediately. And then there's this new thing called like Eagle's Wind or Eagle's Flight or something
I
like
think
that.
it's
That it's
flight,
like,
yeah.
that there's these nodes around the world that you, as long as you're within the proximity, you can basically like zip line off of them. And it has these like interesting like slingshot physics that
Also, like the frame rate on that works perfectly. Like,
Yeah.
I was
Great
like,
for
this, you
traversal.
move pretty quick, and it's
Yeah.
like it's still like it looks so seamless, and I think that's because the art style is the way that it is. Like,
Yeah,
it's very bright
and,
colorful, it's, like smooth.
So like there's that's new. There's you get the power to transform into a chicken.
That seems like that's a pretty major thing.
It actually kind of is.
Which instead of like in other Metroidvania games, like you might get the power of the chicken to make yourself small to get through a narrow passageway to get to another area. In this game, you not only can transform into the chicken. If you want to play the whole game as a chicken, you can do that because there's full combat as a chicken. Like you have a special move set as the chicken that you can't perform as any other character or any other transformation. You can there's things that you can do as the chicken that you just can't do anywhere else in that game. And then there's also like power-ups specifically for the chicken that make him like giant and make him go on this rampage and just take out a bunch of characters at once. And yeah, it's great. They overhauled the engine. I don't know that they created a new engine, but they changed the engine up so that it's all 3D. Like all the backgrounds are well, they're all 2D, but they're shaded to look like very 3D.
Really, really nice.
Really cool.
Awesome. I'm so
That's
down
the
for
part
this.
that impressed me the most. Is like how.
Did you guys play multiplayer at all?
No, but I can't
was only
even
one
imagine how chaotic that would be.
Yeah.
It just looks insane. There's so many characters on screen at once as it is in
And
single
again,
player.
the frame rate is still really good.
And it doesn't, there's no slowdown. But also the humor, it's super funny. The first boss the title screen is these like 5 enemies that you'll face throughout the game. And the first boss he described him to me as, God, what did he say? He was a sexy birthday clown. So
Is that the one of
it's this guy here with the red hat.
Yeah,
if
he
you
looks
can
like a
see him.
sexy birthday clown.
And it's just one of those things where like he shows up and he just like makes fun of your character and like it was great. And the first boss fight with him is really fun.
And I think the humor is better than it was in the first game.
Yeah, the first game had a lot of memes.
he said that.
I would say are there more memes.
I was talking to one of the devs.
Lolcat, get out of here.
I was talking to one of the devs and we asked him about sort of that thing, and he's like, there will be some references to like contemporary like meme jokes and stuff, but he's like overall there's less than in the last game, and some of them are specifically meant to make fun of people that had a really hard time with them in the first game, which I think is really funny.
The only meme I want in this game is a knife.
No,
That's the
a
only meme.
knife.
That's the only one I want in this.
Hot Vine reference. Marty Sleeve.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my 2017 game of the year might be a knife. No, Marty and I and the three of us have been playing that game a lot in the last couple months. If anybody doesn't know what that is,
Google a knife.
I don't know.
You can literally Google a knife no, and it comes up.
Awesome.
Yeah, there you go. See,
Google
if we had
a
a
knife.
Dreams link that would be dreams.me/a-knife no, then
I want to make it a
it
knife no game.
There you go.
Can we make it a knife no
You
game?
can
Absolutely we
do
can.
that,
Holy moly.
I think.
Yes,
Also,
you can.
It was really so during that Dreams demo. I was there with Andrew Renee from What's Good Games, and at a certain point, the guy was recording audio for a song he was making that was going to be the background of the music and the thing. And he's like, "What do you guys want to like? What do you want to yell for the audio?" And Andrew and I started arguing what we were going to yell, and we didn't realize he was just recording the whole thing. And so the background track of the song is just the two of us arguing. And I'm like, "This is amazing."
Sounds about right.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
It's very
great.
cool.
The internet's a dumb place, but it's great. The last game I wanted to talk about was a game that was revealed during the Game Awards, and it's the Campo Santos follow-up to Firewatch called In the Valley of Gods.
Not
This
screw it up that time.
looks
Good job.
so cool.
I need to go back and watch that trailer because it's right news while it was
Oh, no,
happening.
right
I like
news.
that
Well,
little
the
intro.
trailer also doesn't give it a lot of context. So it's a game that's set in the late 1920s that follows these two like kind of failed filmmakers or documentarians as they're like trying to get their
we go.
next piece to like bring them back into that world.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be, I guess, an action and adventure, but mostly an adventure game.
I think it's just a first-person adventure game. Yeah,
Well, they said there was action in there, but I don't know if that's like Firewatchy.
yeah. I mean, there is no combat.
Oh,
in
it's
this
no
game,
combat.
okay.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
What about all the guns in Firewatch?
Several guns in Firewatch. No, so you are kind of exploring Egypt and trying to film certain things, and we don't know exactly what all of that is.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, the characters, like Alana said, like they filmed like the biggest documentary of all time 10 years ago in their career, which I think they sort of said Nanak of the North, which was like the first big documentary ever made. And then they had a falling out, and then 10 years later, they got this tip about the tomb of Nefertiti in Egypt.
Nefertiti.
And so that they said
Why did you choose
Nefertiti.
to say it
They
that way?
said it that
Just
way.
Nefertiti.
No, they said Nefertiti.
Yeah, but they aren't from Egypt. Doesn't mean that
They're making the video game.
they didn't invent that place.
I don't know. One of them was like an
Nefertiti.
Egyptian sky. Well, anyways, so you go there and with the, you want to explore and, shoot this documentary. But the main difference between this and Firewatch, except for the fact that Montana and Egypt are very different places, is the fact that this second character is always on screen with you. Like this, unlike Delilah, which was just a voice in your ear, like this is the equivalent of like Elizabeth in BioShock or, Ellie in The Last of Us, where there's an AI character who's going to be there and you're going to have to work together to.
The story's supposed to be about their relationships, and it was really interesting talking to them and having them be like, well, it was really hard for us to figure out how you put a second character in a game who can't just like radio you like Delilah and be like, hey, go here now. I found this out, because she can just know anything at any point. Whereas like this character can only know what you know because you're both there together, right? So that was supposed to be a really interesting challenge for them.
Yeah, and like this, aside from just exploration and obviously a strong emphasis on the story, there's like the actual shooting mechanic of this game. Shooting as in shooting a documentary is an important part, and they said their goal is that AI in the game will react to you setting up a camera and shooting it. So like an eagle would do something.
One of the questions I asked was, do things know they're being filmed? Like if I were to film the other character, would they know? And the answer was yes. Everything knows it's being filmed. So if you're filming something, it will react to the way that you are filming it. Potentially, yeah.
His nose falls clean off.
The idea is that they will like have stats that show how many people looked at a certain thing, so they can know to like make that adapt to being looked at.
I'm curious as to how thorough the filming portion of it is, like coming up, making like pseudo documentaries. I really like the idea of being able to like just set down a camera anywhere and shoot like B-roll or shoot like scenics or something like that. And then at the end of the game, do you watch a movie that's cut together from the stuff that you shot?
That is the plan. So that wasn't
cool.
confirmed, and they said it could change. But
like totally in the same way where you had a disposable camera in Firewatch and you could send away and get actual prints of what you took. They said sort of their idea is that everyone can watch their get a link for YouTube or whatever.
And they said they would make it like they might be making it like a silent film where there would be like text on screen, like an old-timey silent film.
Neat.
Or you could just watch it in dreams.
Everything
dreams.
Hashtag everything in dreams.
I'm super stoked for this. Like I loved Firewatch last year, and this is a 2019 game. They didn't announce platforms, but they said they're just interested in everything. So I imagine
this still wigs me out to hear games coming in 2019.
I like the fact that they just straight up said 2019 too. It's not like we don't know when we're coming out. What's the other game that just? Oh no, never mind. We haven't announced that yet.
Ooh.
Tune in Thursday for another game probably coming in 2019.
Wow.
Well, I was gonna say I took 2 meetings in the last 2 weeks.
Anyway.
Nearly spoiled something.
No, I didn't. Literally, the game's not announced. How did I spoil it? It's not a real game.
If you have speculation about what that game might be.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really excited about this because it reminds me a lot of Lost Legacy and that relationship.
Totally.
That's what I mentioned.
There.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just cared about them.
Yeah.
The adventure itself didn't feel like it was as well put together as Uncharted 4. So I'm very interested. And I love Firewatch.
I completely agree. Like Chloe and Nadine were my favorite thing about Lost Legacy.
I think they were meant to be. That was
they were the game. Like they made the game
That's
so
absolutely
good.
what their goal was. I literally said like other characters you could compare this to, like Chloe and Nadine. And it was like, yeah, that's kind of the idea. Is it's about these two people who ultimately have the same goal but have been through a lot of conflict together. So
don't they hate each other? Like, isn't
that's
that the
sort
whole
of what
thing?
like these characters hate each other. Chloe and Nadine don't like each other. And
they're super rude to each other.
Yeah.
I think it's even more interesting that these two characters know each other, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hey, you're convenient to call up, and I know you have some issues with somebody else, but you're going to go on this adventure.
Well, they said they wanted to make a game about two adults with baggage, and they said the fact, like, the difference between, a person that you spend all day with and sort of have to rely on versus, like, someone who's your actual best friend. Like, these people aren't best friends, but it's like, we need each other, so let's deal with this. Like, both of our careers are in the dumps, and this might be the thing to, help us. So let's just deal with our problems. Like, we don't know why they fell apart. We don't know what happened, but I don't know, given the fact that, Firewatch was this amazing story, and then, Sean and Jake, the leads on it, were at Telltale, and that was The Walking Dead season 1. Like, I totally trust this team to
absolutely
make some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Ready for it.
Also, the song was great.
The song was great. 3 out of the 4 of us think it's great. Well, Miranda was writing news.
Remember it.
2 out of the 4 of us
good.
thinks it's great. 1 is undetermined. 1 didn't like the song.
I didn't like the song.
I think it's awesome.
I make music.
I feel like that's probably the least important part of that trailer, so it's not a big deal.
What? The music was so good.
It's so good.
I just mean in any trailer, like you can have a good trailer
what about
with bad music.
Hey,
it's fine.
I remember the Mad World trailer for Gears of War, and I don't remember anything else in that trailer but Mad World.
Yeah.
Donnie Darko, my friend.
They also had like a Devotchka song. I remember those songs.
Devotchka?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just haven't heard the word Devotchka soon. Anyways, that was Beyond episode 523. You can find this episode as well as Let's Plays and Rapid Fire. We didn't do Rapid Fire this week because we didn't put up last week, so we're just going to put up last week's this week.
Ooh,
okay.
cheat code.
Why didn't it go up?
I don't know. I was at PSX.
Let's save it
Why did
later.
you put it up?
There's a lot going
You're
on.
the producer.
You can find that at youtube.com/IGN Beyond. Aren't you literally the producer?
We don't want to have this conversation right now.
I think she's literally
We're really
the
pulling back.
The answer is no.
As long as we're pulling back the curtain, can I tell people that you called her Miranda at the beginning of the episode?
It was Miranda.
Miranda.
Mumble there.
Yeah.
We had to redo it.
I thought it was fun. I think it's been stellar. I don't remember that at all. That's not anywhere. Or you can find us on
Look,
Facebook
it's your girlfriend.
Facebook.com/groups/IGN Beyond. And you can find my nice girlfriend, Kara. She got away from that mean Todd. Thanks for helping her.
Anyone who's listening to the audio version, that's not going to make any sense.
No, that's
So
fine.
check out the video version.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find us all on social media. I am at McBiggity with 2 G's and 2 T's. You check out my Kojima interview, please. I think it was a very good feature. And then we have all sorts of end of the year stuff that's very exciting. Zach, where can people find you, and what sort of stuff should they check on?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ZachariasD. It might be Zacharias_D. I don't remember. It's one of the two.
Put in Zacharias and you'll figure it out.
Yeah. And as long as you're checking stuff out, all of our best of the year stuff is up now, and we've worked tirelessly to get that stuff in order. The nominees' videos are really good, and all the winners are going to be announced next week.
What did you vote for Game of the Year?
I voted for Persona 5.
So did I.
I voted for Zelda.
I didn't even finish Persona 5, and I was like, this is by far and away the best game that I've
What did you
played
vote
this
for,
year.
I don't
Miranda?
want to tell you.
Why?
It's a secret.
She voted for. She
the
voted
votes
for,
are done.
She voted for Halo Wars 2.
Yeah.
The only one.
Oh.
Miranda,
not nominated.
where can we find you?
You can find me at Havoc Grows on Twitter, and pretty much everyone else, it's Havoc with a K. Right now, I'm just helping with best of stuff. Please don't forget to vote for all of our awards because there's people's choice for everything. Vote for anime.
Vote for Wolfenstein 2.
Like,
Thank you.
actually, there's like TV.
A vote for anime is a
stuff.
vote for
Please just-
America.
Just the anime. Anyway.
Vote for Wolfenstein 2 for anime.
Vote for
also.
Tenchi Muyo
Yeah,
in Love as
too.
best anime.
Wolfenstein 2.
Tenchi Muyo in Love.
Yeah, I like Tenchi Muyo.
But aside from that, I'm kind of working on some end of the year features and also cleaning up wikis. Like, hey, we have a lot of real great wikis. You should come out sometime. I'll help you.
They will.
Yeah,
I use our wikis.
I used our Persona wiki, and I used
too.
our Zelda wiki this year.
Me too.
I think I also used the Wolfenstein one because I got tricked at one point. Alana, where can we find you? Oh, there were so many Nazis, I didn't know what to do, and it turns out I had to shoot them all.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein 2.
I thought we were supposed to hear them out. I didn't realize.
Oh, God.
It's fine.
I'm on all of the social medias at Charolanazad, and I just published my actual full preview of the Kara demo, so you can check that out.
Yay.
Yeah, we have a bunch of previews. Andrew did a big in-depth thing on Dreams. No, I think those were literally the 3 main ones, so we did it.
Yeah,
Yay.
PSX was like super cool, but very weird because we feel like we didn't do that much, but we met a lot of people.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I met maybe 300 people.
It was insane.
It was awesome. Thank you to everyone who said hi.
100 of them said we were tall.
100 of them said we were tall.
No,
But it's
thank
like
you
it's
so
been
much.
such a stressful time of year, so like I feel like PSX was just like so positive, and meeting so many people was
No,
awesome.
seriously.
So
To anyone who
thank you
came
to
up with
everyone
us,
who said hi. Yeah.
came up to us at
was great.
PSX or at the Game Awards.
Everyone
said
was
hi.
lovely.
You were
Every single
all
person was
amazing.
awesome.
And if you see us, don't be afraid to say hi.
This podcast has more endings than Return of the King.
It's fine.
That's such a bad joke. That's such like a lazy. Like,
Yeah, I said it.
That's such a low.
What if you said like more
That's the-
endings than Nia? That would be better. There's
That's
25
the
of them.
joke.
You
That's
should
a
have said
better
no.
one.
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah, you're right.
No, you're
For Zach, Miranda, and Alana, this is Marty. This
Miranda.
is Beyond episode 523.
Oh,
We will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Beyond.
Beyond.
On.
Beyond.
Oh, we didn't say it at all this episode.